A common condition we often see in lakes and ponds, especially during the summer, is a condition we refer to as thermal stratification. What I mean by that is that as the summer progresses, the air temperature warms up. We also see the top layer of lakes and ponds get warmer, and when that happens, the water becomes less dense and it stays sort of floating on the surface as sort of a lens on top. The problem with that is that at the bottom, we have a layer that is not becoming mixed, and it slowly becomes devoid of oxygen. So a lot of things going on at the bottom of a lake, particularly at the sediment-water interface. Bacteria is breaking down organic matter, and it's creating a condition that often leads to mobilizing phosphorus from the sediments into the water column. So that's something we want to avoid. When that happens, when we see the stratified condition occur for weeks or perhaps even months, we see the situation where if we're looking at the water temperature and the dissolved oxygen at the surface, as we go down through the water column, you begin to see the dissolved oxygen drops out. So the deeper you get, you begin to see that phenomena where the oxygen drops out in that more dense, colder layer at the bottom of the lake. You see a similar parallel condition with water temperature as you go down through the water column. So surface to bottom, temperature, dissolved oxygen, and you can see it go out here. This was an example from a lake here locally. If the condition persists for a month, and typically in South Florida, we don't see that for very long. Stratification occurs over and over, so the lake will become mixed during a storm event or a high wind event or rainfall, and that circulates the lake and avoids this. But if the lake stays stratified for a period of time, we begin to see that bottom layer that's devoid of oxygen. Temperature goes down. If we see that persist, that's a condition we really don't like. And the problem with that is you have a larger volume of the lake that's without oxygen. And then when it eventually does mix, it mixes with the surface layer and it drives the oxygen down throughout the entire water column. Often a fish kill will result from this condition. One way to avoid that is to install a subsurface, what we call a subsurface diffuser, which creates this mixing in the water column. It prevents the thermal stratification and also the stratification of oxygen, where the oxygen goes out in the bottom layer. So this is the situation that will fix the stratification. You can talk to a lake or pond manager or a company that installs this equipment, and that will help solve the problem. When we do that, again, this is what we want to see: dissolved oxygen uniform from surface to bottom, as well as temperature. We don't see the stratified condition that leads to problems with lowering of dissolved oxygen that often leads to fish kills.